Oh!
Hey, hello! Breaking news! The Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon hype train has just pulled out of the station and is barreling full speed at you! There's no escape. I'm Pokekells and this is the Dex, the weekly Pokemon trivia and battle strategy show!
And I am Sailor Alex. It is only 3 days until Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are out. Leaks abound. Be careful. We won't talk about them. Please, please don't add us.
You know, dude, it feels like this release has come so fast, you know? I feel like we didn't even have time to cover all the weird Alolan mysteries in Sun and Moon, but now we're going plus Ultra!
Okay, yes, there's still so much I want to know too, though.
Like, what the heck is Dhelmise's deal?
Right. Oh, whoa. Dhelmise was literally not in my mind palace anymore until you mentioned it just now. What is that thing's deal? It's so hard to get and so late in the game.
I feel like it just kind of casually flew under the radar for everybody this gen, but then like everybody also thinks it's really awesome still.
I hope it is.
Oh, it is.
Tight.
It's Dhelmise!
Dhelmise is the Sea Creeper Pokemon. No known relation to the Sea Creepers of Resident Evil Revelations, but still a nightmarish creature in its own right. Though it holds a helm and anchor, its real body is the green seaweed entangled in the wreckage. And it's said the soul of seaweed adrift in the waves became reborn as this Pokemon.
The helm and anchor are important though, because wielding these hefty ornaments make Dhelmise really strong. One good swing can knock out a Wailord in one turn, according to Sun's Dex entry. Plus, it makes for a nice name, meeting your demise at the hands of the helm. Your certain Dhelmise. Love it.
Its skilled usage of shipwreckage parts also earns it the unique ability Steelworker, which gives the Ghost Grass type Dhelmise a 50% bonus in Steel type moves too, which is essentially free stab steel attacks with no steel weaknesses. That is a baller ability, dude. Like, no downside to that. It's just like, hey, here's a real good thing for you, Dhelmise, free power. Here you go, enjoy that. I like you, cool. Have this power for whatever you want to use it for.
And that's tight because since its body is only seaweed parts, it naturally wouldn't have any of the steel type weaknesses since it's really just holding the stuff.
Yo, it found a loophole. That's clever and creepy.
Oh man, but it gets even scarier. You ever heard of Alexander Woollcott's short story Full Fathom 5?
No, but he has an excellent first name.
It's an old ghost story from the late 1920s, and it puts an even deeper, darker spin on Dhelmise's true nature.
Ooh, shouldn't we have done this on Halloween last week?
Dude, every time and any time is the time for scary ghost type stories. Especially right now is the time, because I'm about to start it.
Good one. Nice. Very cogent.
Our story takes place in Massachusetts, where two sisters on their way to Cape Cod for a vacation had the misfortune of their car breaking down on a quiet road in the middle of the night.
The sisters had no way to contact anyone. It was the 20s after all, so they walked down the road and came upon a small empty house. It appeared to have been abandoned for a long time, so they decided to stay there for the night and go for help in the morning.
Shortly after falling asleep, both of them suddenly awoke to see a man in a sailor's uniform standing by the unlit fireplace, dripping wet and holding his hands out over a fire that wasn't there. They cried out and the sailor disappeared into a puddle, and the sisters, both sure they were dreaming, returned to fitful sleep.
The next morning, however, they awoke to find the puddle by the fireplace was still there, and inside it was a long piece of green seaweed. One of the sisters took it with her as proof of their harrowing experience.
A year later, the sisters were throwing a dinner party and happened to recount their ghost story to the guests. One of them, who happened to be a marine biologist, asked to see the piece of seaweed, and so the sisters showed it to him. The man took one look at it and turned pale.
"Madames," he said quietly, "this is a very rare type of seaweed, for it only grows on the corpses of people who have drowned at sea." Mwah! Mwah!
Scary ghost type story, so scary! But I hope you were paying attention because all these cool little details fit right in with Dhelmise. The first being a type of seaweed called Codium fragile. It is native to the Pacific Ocean near Japan, though it was inadvertently introduced to the northeast coast of the United States around Massachusetts too, where it became an invasive species.
The long green tendrils of this seaweed grow in shallow water, and when the tide goes out, the spindly leaves hang over the rocks like hands clutching at them. This earned the seaweed its common name, dead man's fingers. It doesn't actually grow out of the bodies of drowned people, but I think we can agree that horror stories are never about being factually accurate.
So, all told, we believe Dhelmise are the souls of drowned sailors inhabiting this dead man's fingers seaweed that may or may not grow out of their drowned bodies. And then it uses those fingers as hands to wield the wrecked parts of its ship and roam the seas once more. Yo, what if every captain that goes down with their ship, meeting their demise at the helm, are fated to become a Dhelmise? That would be so cool.
Are you so hyped now about Dhelmise that you're ready to brave the single fishing spot in Alola that it has a 1% chance of appearing in? Ready to hold out for the bubbles that'll make a whopping 10% and then still wait for hours, maybe cry a little like I did?
Nah, man, I just traded my suspiciously underleveled Perfect IV legendaries for it on the GTS.
You scoundrel.
I'm kidding! But as I nor anyone else ever did spend the time to catch one, I really have no idea what it can do in battle.
Well, good, because I got VGC 2017 battle strats all up in this ship.
What?
This ship!
Oh, man, I was about to make you put in for the swear jar.
We don't have a swear jar.
I know, I need those quarters for laundry day.
Yeah, I should just do a single load of laundry. That would be good.
You never,
That'd be
you
good
never
if I did
have.
one load.
You never have.
I've done laundry. In this show's humble opinion, Dhelmise is a Pokemon that a lot of people kind of slept on in VGC 2017. But now the 18's right around the corner, and the meta's gonna completely change. Maybe it's time for this big, bulky ghost plant / ship part to finally have his day as the Tapu exterminator it was always meant to be. Start with an Adamant one and Eevee train it in HP and attack.
Dhelmise's whole deal is that its ability Steelworker basically gives stab to its Steel-type moves without having to accept all the weaknesses of actually being a Steel-type. Maximize this extra power by giving it a Life Orb to hold for an even bigger boost and lay the smackdown on all who oppose you with Dhelmise's signature move, Anchor Shot, which also keeps your target, hopefully a Tapu of some kind, from being able to switch out. Nice.
Yikes. And if you want to keep the pain train rolling, Power Whip is probably the only move on the set that's even more important than Anchor Shot, because not only does it absolutely bop Tapu Fini, it's also a great coverage move to run against many Pokemon native to Alola.
And speaking of coverage, what better coverage move is there in general than Earthquake? And the fact that Dhelmise can run it, pretty dang scary. Use it whenever you're not using Power Whip or Anchor Shot, unless you don't want to attack at all, in which case, what else can we recommend but the best move in Pokemon, period, Protect.
If you can use these 4 moves with style and strategy, this oddball choice can be a great addition to any team. But, of course, that's not the only way to train a Dhelmise, so as always, here are a few random thoughts.
The other big move that makes sense on this set is Shadow Claw. It's reliable, it does a respectable amount of damage, and that extra critical hit chance isn't something to sneeze at either, not to mention the fact that it gets boosted by Stab. Point is, swap this in for Earthquake and you'll probably be an equally happy customer.
Now, another option is also Phantom Force, and while it is a physical ghost attack even more powerful than Shadow Claw, its fly-like mechanics make it kind of a pain to use, even though it does hit right through Protect. Think of it more as a deterrent than something you use aggressively though, and you just might learn to love it anyway.
Another way we've seen people run Dhelmise is centered around hold items like the Assault Vest or Choice Band or even Grassium or Groundium Z. I think our strategy is a little bit more generally useful than these other sets, but with specific partners and team cores, these sets are at least worth a quick Google. Search. Find out what they are.
And that's it! Dhelmise is actually just haunted seaweed, ghost seaweed doesn't actually grow out of dead bodies, and Ultra Sun and Moon are out in 3 days. I can literally only ever think about that and that alone.
Yeah! I know, right? But hey, if you like what you saw today, make sure that you subscribe and watch a bunch more of our videos, or if you're ready to take your Dex fandom to the next level, follow links in the description to our sick t-shirts at theyeti.com/thedex, or join our official Discord, which has all kinds of fun stuff to do, including Destiny 2 plans.
For more trivia and strategy about your favorite Pokemon, click one of these weird end card thingies here. And if you got a second, why not take the time to acknowledge all our awesome Patreon patrons who support us not only financially, but also in the way a good rhythm section can support a good melody. I'm Sailor Alex.
And I'm Pokekells. Tune in next week for another Divergent episode of
The Dex.